In this video, we're going to have a trick on how to determine the trig values using the left-hand rule. So the trig values that we're going to be focusing on this video would be the ones on the first quadrant, since we consider them as the reference angles. So that would include 0 degrees, 30 degrees, 45 degrees, 60 degrees, and 90-degree angles. So the trick is that we will be using our left hand. So that's the left hand right there. Since my left hand is too big and it doesn't fit on the screen, so I have created this mini version of my left hand. So using this left hand right here, we're gonna start with 0 degrees. Then this is 30 degrees. This is 45 degrees. This is 60 degrees. And this is 90 degrees. Okay, in order that we can determine the values for each of these, again, these are located on the first quadrant and they are considered as the reference angle. We are going to use any of these equations that we have here in order that we can determine the value of a particular angle. If you notice in the equation, we have the words below and above. This words below and above refers to the number of fingers. So let's say, for example, if I cover this finger right here where the 30 is, that means that there are 3 fingers above and there's 1 finger below. So that is the meaning of these words above and below. It refers to the number of fingers. So let's take one example here. Let's say that we are supposed to determine sine 0. So I'm just going to write it up here. So sine 0. So we need to figure out what is that value for sine 0. So first that we're going to do is we'll look at the formula for sine. So the formula is square root of below over 2. So what is it talking about? So we go to 0, we cover the 0 part here. So I will cover that part. Now we count how many fingers do we have below the 0. So there's nothing in there. So I can go ahead and say that below the 0 part is a 0 because nothing is below it. Now it says that it's over 2, so I'm just gonna write 2 right here. So pretty much we have square root of 0 is 0. 0 divided by 2 is 0. So pretty much this sine 0 is actually 0. We can actually test this using the calculator to see if sine 0 is really 0. So I'm going to show it on the calculator. So sine 0 is, we're expecting to have 0 on this, and it is 0. Now let's try another example right here. So suppose we're going to determine the value for cosine 30. So cosine 30, the formula for cosine is right here. So we say it's 30. So then we go ahead and cover the cover the finger that has 30, labeled 30. And then we go ahead and count first. The formula says that we count above the 30. So these are the number of fingers above the 30. So that's going to be 3 and we square root it. So that would be square root of 3 over 2. So pretty much our cosine, we can't reduce this. So pretty much our cosine 30 is square root of 3 over 2. So we can test this using the calculator. So square root of 3 divided by 2 is this value. Now let's have cosine 30. So pretty much this one right here is actually 0.866, and then there's still a lot of numbers after that, so I don't have to show the rest of the numbers in there. Now let's see if cosine 30, so that's the value, these two expressions should be equal to each other. So let's see cosine 30, and they should match up, and so they are exactly a match. So pretty much this is also 0.866, and so there are still more numbers after that. So pretty much these two expressions, the expression on the left, cosine 30, and the expression on the right, square root of 3 over 2, are actually equal to each other. Now let's try another example right here. So I want you to figure out tangent 45. At this time, I would encourage you to pause this video and try this problem out on your own. And when you're done, unpause it and check your answer. Okay, so we go over the problem here. It says it's tangent 45. So I cover the 45 part right here. So we're going to use this equation right here for tangent. So that is below. So we count from 45. We count the number of fingers below the 45. So that will be 1, 2. So that is the square root of 2. This is a times, by the way. And then that's a times square root of the number of fingers above the 45. That's also 2 right there. Over above. Above would be 2. So then we can go ahead and simplify this. Square root of 2 times square root of 2 is square root of 4 over 2. So square root of 4 is pretty much, that's 2 right there, and that's over 2. So tangent 45 is 1. So we go ahead and say that this value of tangent 45 is actually 1. So we can test this using the calculator again. So we have tangent of 45 is actually 1 right there. So we got that part. Did you get the same answer as this? Good. Perfect. At this time, I would encourage you to pause this video and try cosine 60. And if you're done, unpause it and check your answer. Okay, so we go over the problem here. Since we say cosine 60, so we're going to use this equation right here. So I'm going to cover the 60, and then we count and fill these values in. So first, it says that we're going to determine the number of fingers above the 60. Above here is 1, so there's only 1 finger left. So that would be square root of 1 over 2. So then we go ahead and say square root of 1 is just actually 1. So we can go ahead and say that cosine 60 is actually 1 over 2. So pretty much it's 1/2. So we can test this. Cosine of 60 is actually equal to 0.5. And let's say what is 1/2? 1 divided by 2 is also 0.5. So both of them are equal to each other. Did you get the same answer as this? Good. Perfect. At this time, I would encourage you to pause this video and try this problem out on your own. And when you're done, unpause it and check your answer. Okay, so we say tangent, so we're going to use this. So since we say that it has to be on 60, so we cover the 60 right there and we count the number of fingers below the 60. So that will be 1, 2, 3. So that is a square root of 3 times above. The number of fingers above the 60 is just 1. So that is a square root of 1 over the number above. That is also 1 right there. So pretty much we go ahead and square root of 1 is just 1, and then we divide it by 1. So pretty much tangent 60, the leftover would just be square root of 3. And we can test it using the calculator. Again, we have we determine the value of square root of 3 is actually, so this value right here. Now let's see what is tangent of 60. They should match up. And so their values are exactly a match. Did you get the same answer as this? Good. Perfect. At this time, I would encourage you to pause this video and try tangent 90 out on your own. And when you're done, unpause it and check your answer. Okay, so we go over the problem here. So we have tangent 90. So I cover the 90 right there, and we're going to use the formula for tangent. So that would be square root of the number of fingers below. So we count below. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4. So that is the square root of 4 times the number of fingers above, which is 0. And then because there's nothing on the above part right here. And then above, the number of fingers above would be also 0. So pretty much this is left with... And if we say it's undefined, it's actually an asymptote. So let's test what is tangent 90. So if we use the calculator, tangent 90 would be equal to error. So that means it's undefined. Did you get the same answer as this? Good. Perfect. That's it. If you find this video helpful, hit like and subscribe for more math videos. See ya.